Today, we face something strange, something deeply unsettling, something almost impossible. Mathematics lives inside minds. It begins with imagination, with symbols, with thought. No one touches numbers, no one sees equations, no one hears algebra. Yet somehow, mathematics works. It works incredibly well. It works everywhere. It works always. It predicts invisible particles. It predicts distant galaxies. It predicts reality itself. This creates a paradox, a very serious paradox. How can invented symbols describe independent reality? How can imagination alone govern the external universe? This question matters more than it seems. Look around carefully. Reality looks messy. Reality looks chaotic. Trees move randomly. Clouds drift freely. Water flows unpredictably. Nothing appears mathematical. Nothing appears precise. Yet beneath appearances, perfect order exists. Now close your eyes. Ignore the outside world. Inside your mind, you create symbols, you define rules. You invent structures. You build logical systems. You say, "Let there be a triangle." You define its properties. You invent relationships. You invent mathematics. These symbols live nowhere. They exist only mentally. Like chess rules, like musical notes, like invented languages. Pure human creation. But here comes the mystery. These invented structures match physical reality. Not approximately, not vaguely, perfectly precise. You calculate electron behavior, experiments agree. You calculate planetary motion, planets obey. This should not happen. Why should imagination control physical reality? Why should invented math govern an ancient universe? The universe existed first. Stars burned before humans. Galaxies moved without observers. Yet mathematical laws worked. Perfectly, silently, independently. This creates tension, deep philosophical tension. Two possibilities appear. First possibility: mathematics is invented. Second possibility: mathematics is discovered. Both options disturb logic. If math is invented, why does the universe obey? If math is discovered, where does it exist? Both answers feel incomplete. Start with invention. Numbers represent ideas. You find 3 stones, you find 3 apples, you find 3 people. But you never find 3. 3 is abstraction. 3 is concept. Concepts require minds. Without minds, no abstractions. Mathematics builds abstractions. Symbols represent ideas. Rules manipulate symbols. Humans created those systems. Just like chess, the knight moves strangely. The bishop moves diagonally. Nothing forces those moves. Humans defined them. But once rules exist, consequences follow. Checkmate becomes inevitable. We did not invent checkmate. It emerges from logic. Mathematics behaves similarly. We define axioms. We define operations. Then consequences emerge. Mathematics becomes a logical machine. Humans built machine. Machine produces truth. But machine remains invented. Geometry proves this. For centuries, parallel lines never met. That was law. Then someone asked, what if not? New geometries appeared. Parallel lines could meet. Space could curve. Entire mathematical universes emerged, contradicting earlier ones. This shows flexibility. Humans control rules. Humans create frameworks. Mathematics behaves like language. Languages evolve freely. Languages follow chosen grammar. Mathematics follows invented grammar. But invention alone does not explain precision. Something deeper exists. Something invention cannot explain. Mathematics predicts reality with terrifying accuracy. Accuracy beyond coincidence. Accuracy beyond luck. Something connects mind and universe. This connection demands explanation. Now consider discovery. Patterns exist naturally. Nature contains structure. Nature contains order. Humans observe patterns. Humans describe patterns. Mathematics describes efficiently. Look at sunflowers. Seeds form spirals. Count carefully. You find Fibonacci numbers. Plants never studied arithmetic, yet plants follow mathematics. Nature uses numerical structure. Consider gravity. Planets follow equations. Inverse square law. Exactly squared, not approximate. Universe obeys precise relations, independent of human thought. This suggests discovery. Mathematics exists externally. Humans uncover truths, like explorers finding continents, not inventors creating land. This explanation feels powerful, but still incomplete. Where does math exist? It has no weight, no color, no physical location. Cannot measure it directly. Only see consequences. Mathematics feels real, yet remains abstract. Feels discovered, yet partly invented. Both views hold truth. Both remain insufficient. Something deeper connects them. Something fundamental exists beneath. Understanding this connection changes everything, not just physics, but reality itself, and we are only beginning. Part 2 goes deeper. Now we go deeper, much deeper, because something strange happens. Very strange. We invent mathematics for fun, for curiosity, for beauty, for intellectual games. No intention of describing reality, just abstract exploration. Take a simple example, the square root of -1. In ordinary arithmetic, it does not exist. Positive gives positive. Negative times negative also gives positive. So nothing squared gives -1. Impossible. But mathematicians insisted. They said, let's pretend it exists. Let's call it I. Imaginary number. A fictional quantity. Pure invention. A mathematical toy. They built a system around it. Complex numbers emerged. Beautiful, elegant, useless. At least, that's what people thought. Because you cannot hold I, you cannot measure I, you cannot see I. It seemed artificial. Then the 20th century arrived. Physics entered the atom. Electrons behaved strangely. Classical logic failed. New equations were needed. And suddenly, there it was, that imaginary number. Right inside quantum mechanics. Right inside the wave equation. Without I, the theory collapses. Without imaginary numbers, electrons cannot be described. The universe requires them. Think carefully. We invented a fictional number, and reality uses it. How? Why? It is like carving a key from pure imagination. Then discovering it opens a real lock. This is not coincidence. This happens repeatedly. Consider symmetry. Mathematicians studied symmetry for artistic reasons. Rotations, reflections. Pure pattern games. No physical intention. Then particle physics developed. And suddenly, elementary particles obey symmetry groups. Quarks follow symmetry. Forces follow symmetry. The structure of matter follows group theory. A mathematician finds a pattern. A physicist finds a particle. The pattern predicted it. Before experiment confirmed it. Mathematics saw it first. Reality followed. This phenomenon has a name. The unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics. Why unreasonable? Because it should not happen. There is no logical necessity. Evolution shaped human brains for survival, for food, for danger, for reproduction. Not for quantum fields. Not for cosmic geometry. Yet the same brain understands both. Why should a mind designed for forests grasp the architecture of space-time? There is no guarantee. The universe could be chaotic. It could be inconsistent. It could change laws daily. It could resist compression into equations. But it does not. It behaves. It obeys structure. It follows consistent rules. and those rules fit mathematics. This raises a disturbing thought. Maybe mathematics is not just describing reality. Maybe mathematics is reality. Maybe at the deepest level, there are no things, only relations, only structures, only equations. When physics probes deeper, matter dissolves. Solid particles disappear. In their place, probability waves, fields, symmetries, mathematical operators. The deeper we go, the less material it seems. The universe becomes abstract, almost numerical, almost logical, as if existence itself is written in equations. This idea is powerful, but dangerous, because it suggests something radical. If mathematics works everywhere, maybe it is fundamental. Maybe space is mathematical. Maybe time is mathematical. Maybe we are mathematical processes. But caution is necessary. Before declaring reality as pure equation, remember something important. We invent many systems. Most fail. Most mathematical structures describe nothing physical. We can invent 5-dimensional chess. We can invent 17-dimensional spaces. We can invent impossible logics. Nature ignores them. Nature accepts only very specific structures. This means something crucial. Mathematics alone does not guarantee truth. Experiment decides. Reality decides, no matter how elegant an equation appears. If experiment disagrees, it is wrong. Completely wrong. This rule is absolute. Mathematics must answer to observation, not beauty, not elephants, only experiment. That is science. So perhaps the mystery is not that mathematics works, but that we discard the parts that do not. Maybe thousands of systems fail. We remember only successes. Survival of the fittest equations. But even then, why are there successes at all? Why does any abstract system match physical structured? Why is the universe structured? Why is it not noise? Why is it not randomness? Why is it compressible into symbols? This is the cliff edge, the place where logic trembles, because either the universe is built in mathematical form, or human cognition is tuned to its structure. Either math exists independently, or mind and cosmos share deep architecture. Both options are profound. Both options are unsettling, and neither fully explained. We stand in between, inventing symbols, discovering consequences, testing against reality, and each time the equations align, the mystery deepens. Part 3 pushes further still. Now we reach the deepest layer. Not mathematics alone, but reality itself. Because everything leads here, we invent symbols. We discover patterns. We test with experiment. And somehow, it all connects. But why? Why is the universe intelligible at all? Think carefully. There is no requirement for reality to make sense. The universe could exist without logic. It could shift randomly. It could refuse structure. It could deny prediction. Yet it does not. It behaves consistently. It follows rules. Rules stable across time. Rules stable across space. Light behaves identically billions of years apart. Gravity acts consistently across galaxies. Electrons behave precisely every single time. This consistency is not trivial. It is extraordinary, because consistency allows mathematics. Without stability, no equation survives. Without order, no prediction works. But stability exists, and equations work. So the real mystery moves deeper, not whether we invent math, but why reality accepts mathematics. Consider something subtle. We invent coordinate systems. We choose origins. We define axes. None physically exist. No glowing grid fills the universe. Yet once defined, relationships become measurable. Distance remains real. Motion remains real. Even if description changes, you can use Newton's laws. Force equals mass times acceleration. Or you can use the principle of least action. Completely different mathematics. Different philosophy. Different interpretation. Yet both predict the same trajectory. This tells something profound. Mathematics is map. Reality is territory. We draw maps differently. But if map works, it leads same destination. So perhaps we invent language, but discover structure. Language flexible. Structure fixed. We change symbols. Structure remains unchanged. We choose equations. Reality chooses outcomes. This partnership defines science. But the partnership remains mysterious. Because structure itself demands explanation. Why structure? Why not chaos? Why symmetry? Why conservation laws? Why numerical precision? These are not obvious. They are remarkable. When measuring electrons, theoretical prediction agrees to 12 decimal places. 12. That level of agreement is staggering. Like measuring Earth to hair width accuracy and succeeding. That is not approximate truth. That is terrifying precision. If mathematics were mere cultural invention, such agreement seems impossible. So philosophers argue. Two camps form. One side says, mathematics exists independently, timeless, eternal perfect structures outside physical space. We discover them, like explorers. The other side says, mathematics is tool, a refined language shaped by human need, refined through testing, kept only if useful. Both perspectives defend logic. Both hold partial truth. But as scientists, another stance appears, more practical, more grounded. It does not ask where math lives. It asks only, does it predict? If equation predicts correctly, it survives. If not, it dies. No matter reputation, no matter beauty, experiment decides, reality judges. This is discipline of science. But discipline does not erase wonder. Because even if math is only tool, why is it only tool that works? Why not metaphor? Why not emotion? Why numbers? Why equations? Why strict relationships? Why is universe so rigidly numerical? This question remains open. Perhaps answer lies in evolution. Our brains evolved inside universe, shaped by same laws. Neural logic mirrors cosmic logic. Internal structure reflects external structure. So when we think logically, we resonate with reality. Or perhaps deeper still, mind and universe share foundation, not separate domains, but one continuous system. Observer and observed intertwined fundamentally. In that case, mathematics is bridge, not invention, not discovery, but interface. Interface between mind and world. We invent representation. We discover constraint. We shape language. Reality shapes outcome. And together, meaning emerges. So what is mathematics? Invented. Discovered. The honest answer. Both. We invent the game. We discover its consequences. We create symbols. We uncover structure. And the greatest surprise, the universe plays too. Galaxies trace ellipses. Electrons obey complex numbers. Flowers follow sequences. Space bends geometrically. Reality participates in logical structure. That is the miracle. Not that math exists, but that it connects. Tiny biological creatures on small rotating planet around average star have learned language of the cosmos. We ask question. Universe answers? Through experiment, through consistency, through number. Why is world intelligible? Why is logic embedded in existence? Why can finite minds grasp infinite structure? No final answer exists. No chapter conclusion written. The mystery remains open. And perhaps that is the most beautiful part. Because every equation solved reveals deeper question. Every discovery made exposes larger mystery. Mathematics may be tool, it may be territory, it may be both, but one truth stands clear. The universe is understandable, and that fact alone is astonishing. Maybe one day, someone listening now will push further, will uncover deeper layer, will explain connection between mind and cosmos. Until then, we continue exploring, inventing, discovering, testing, and wondering, because the greatest equation has not yet been written, and perhaps it is waiting, not in vault, not in heaven, but in curious mind. That is where the journey continues.